Good morning, Daniel Swartz here. So, I want to talk about saving money for your children's future. Now, a lot of poor people say we just can't do that. We're too poor. Maybe you have less money to work with than me, but probably not, probably not. There's some people who do have less than me. But my point is that my wife and I make very little, and we made a conscious effort to save for our children's future. And the thing is, with your children's future, if you start thinking about college and buying a car and things like of that nature, or you just pick a number off the top of your head, I'm going to save $1,000 this year for that child, and then you just try to save that big number, and it doesn't work because you got a lump sum savings, and then times get tight and you use it, or you're just not strict enough to make yourself put the money away, and it feels impossible because you're looking at the big number and thinking I'm never going to get there. But look how simple it can be if you just do a little bit every day. Now here's how I've been doing it. When the child turns 2, I started giving them a little bit of change cash every week, and just thank them for all the help they do around the house and things like that. Wouldn't call it an allowance. I mean, you could call it that, but they do a lot of work around here, and I want them to know that work has value, and that a thank you is great, but it's also good to be appreciated, and work, when they get out and they're grown ups, work has value. It has a dollar value. I could go on the whole video on that, but I'm going to stop, so I'll keep this simple. Okay, let's see how little money you need to actually shell out every week can lead into really significant savings. So what I do is whatever their age is, that's how many dollars they get a week. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up. So let's say I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I give her $2 a week for 52 weeks out of the year. That's $104 of savings. And you set up a savings account in that child's name, a universal transfer to minors account, and you leave it in there. And it's the child's money, not yours. You got to get that through your head, because if you have in your head that, okay, it's really my money and I can use it if I want, then why even start saving for your kids? Because you're just going to use it. You put it in there and say, that's my kids and that's for their future. And we're doing fine, and that little bit of money isn't going to make much difference. Okay. So $104 a year doesn't sound like much. But if you do that every year until they're 14 and ready to go into high school, that's $14 a week for 52 weeks is $728. Now you're thinking that's still not a lot. You went from 104 a year to 728 a year. But the total of those 13 years comes out to $5,408. That is not nothing. Now, is it going to change the world? No, but it could make a big difference in that child's life. It could be put in an investment account, or the reason I went up only to high school years is because then the child is old enough to get some odd jobs and earn their own money, which would be significantly more than what you're giving them a week, and then that would shut off. At least that is my plan. I don't plan to give my teenagers an allowance. I want them to have a job. I just said it's not really an allowance, but anyways. So, but you're saying, well, I got a lot of kids, could never afford that. Well, I have 6 kids. One 10-year-old, one 9-year-old, 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and 2-year-old. If I give them each the dollar amount of their age per week, that's only $38 a week, which is basically the loose change in my wallet, the small bills. I take it out and I divide it up. Now, how much does that come out to yearly? That's $1,976 a year. Now, that would be a nice chunk, almost $2,000 for my wife and I to use. But at the same time, on a daily basis, it doesn't make that much difference. So we put that away, and that's for the kids. And that is how simple it is. At $38 a week, you can add up significant savings for your children. Because if you think, well, I'm just going to save the $2,000 and put that aside and divide it up at the end of the year, it doesn't work, because it's psychological. You have to trick your brain into thinking this isn't much, and you just give them like 38. You're just giving them a little bit of cash that was in your wallet at the end of the week as a little gift, and we make them put it into savings, and we still tell them how they can use it and can't use it. So if we go to town or something, we might give one of them the older ones, extra cash to spend. Or mom and dad will just buy it. If they're off to do a fun thing, we'll give them some cash to spend. Otherwise, mom and dad will just buy it until they're old enough to start earning an income on their own. So it's not that hard, and it's not that much money in the long run. But it's not that much money. It's not going to make much difference on your household and your lifestyle in the long run, is what I'm trying to say. $38 a week, even $50 a week, is not going to make much of an impact on your lifestyle for the long-term goal, but it can make a big impact in savings and starting your kids off with a little nest egg for when they're ready to go out on their own, get married, move out, buy their own place, buy a car, whatever. It's something to start with. So, do something to think about. It's not that hard. Have a good day.